Get out the insurance cards, get out the co-pays. The office is open, my friends, as this video is brought to you by drroto.com.
Good morning, my friends. It is time yet again for In the Cup, featuring Adam White and Johnny Danger. Brought to you by drroto.com. Good morning, Adam. How are you, sir?
Good morning. I'm doing well despite the absolute collapse of my lineup in our contest last Sunday.
Talk about it.
Still finished top third, but man, I went from second to sixth in a hurry. I don't think Tony Finau made a single birdie. He's dead to me, much like Eric Van Rooyen is dead to you.
It's true. It's true. I don't want to talk about it. Adam Schenk withdrew, and I was dead on Friday morning.
DOA. Yeah, that was rough to see. The funny part was, who was the other guy that withdrew? Whoever it was, his initials were also AS. So I thought like Austin Smotherman, Adam Scott might be in a little bit of trouble, but you know, they persevered. They kept playing. You
made it. It was a bad week, so we're gonna set it, forget it.
Yeah,
set it and forget it. Some of our guys that popped in our model were pretty good. Sepp Straka, Aaron Rye, a few of our bargain plays did well. But yeah, when Scotty doesn't finish number one and you pay for him to finish number one, it doesn't go well for you.
There's that. Yeah, I mean, we can always learn from any mistakes made, right? We gotta be a forward-thinking show here. I do think we had some very good plays. It was old guy week. It may be potentially older guy week again this week. We got a pretty short course. With that segue, do you want to get right into the golf course and what we're looking at?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's head to the RBC Canadian Open. Before you get into the course breakdown, are you a maple syrup guy? Do you like?
Am I what?
Are you a maple syrup guy?
I like some maple syrup. I'm actually generally a honey on my pancakes over maple syrup guy.
Interesting. I like bourbon barrel-aged maple syrup. I'm bougie.
That is bougie. Why do you ask? Are you eating some?
No, I just, it's Canadian Open. It's maple syrup.
Canadian Open. Okay. I was in Canada earlier this year. But yeah, I've not had much maple syrup of late.
That's a shame.
But yeah.
Beautiful product. Anyways, tell us about this course, sir.
Being that I am a golfer at heart, we will turn the page from last week's Colonial to this week's Canadian Open. You need to have that quick, that short memory, if you will. So learning from our mistakes, we're going to move on to the Canadian Open. We are at a 7,100-yard course. It is a par 70, Hamilton Country Club. Fun fact, my college teammate who came in with me at Eastern Michigan, his father was the head professional at Hamilton Country Club. There have been, I think this is the 6th Canadian Open that's been held here. However, it has been since 2019 that they have had one at this golf course. So it underwent a makeover since then. So the greens are going to play quite a bit firmer, much like last week at Colonial. I like the way DB from the Tour Junkies put it. A lot of these courses are getting their tits done. So when they get their tits done, the greens are nice and firm. They're bouncy. They're springy. The balls are going to be hopping off those greens. So,
oh my,
this is a PG podcast usually, but we had to go there. So with that in mind, it is a pretty short course. So we've got 12 par fours, more than usual. With that in mind, definitely weighting par four scoring a little heavier than usual. There are quite a few short par fours. So I counted 5 that were under 420, pretty rare. On tour, so none of them are necessarily drivable, but it does set up a pretty interesting week where you got a lot of approach shots between 75 and 125. Good number of dog legs. It's a tree-lined old Parkland style course, a little over 100 years old. The par threes are long. We've got 3 over 210 and a couple of them in the 230 plus range. So should be an interesting week. Now, back in 2019, the last time it was here, you had a variety of different skill sets that were up there. Rory won by 7. He won by 7 shots. That a little Sunday 61. Beat Shane Lowry by 7. Also on that leaderboard, you had Webb Simpson, Matt Kuchar. You had some short knockers who kind of putted their way around that week. So I don't think it necessarily lends itself to any particular type player, although a lot of the bunkers out there on these longer par 4s and par 5s are at the 300-yard mark. So if you can carry it over 300, like guys such as Rory can, you definitely will have an advantage on those more difficult holes or those scoreable par fives. So just some notes that I saw and found interesting this week. As always, distance will be an advantage, but less than usual. And of course, we're looking at approach play this week, along with par four scoring. And since there were some putters that really did well that week, and they're not the same greens, so it's going to be a little different, but none of these guys are going to have that course knowledge where you have memory to recall from to know how a certain putt breaks if it's a little different than usual. So I think it's set up to be an interesting week. I always love the Canadian Open. Hopefully Rory doesn't run away with it and make it boring as last week was with Davis Riley. But I think we're in for a fun week up north, even though it's like due east of here.
Right. True story. We are up there, aren't we? It's true. It's true.
We are.
All right. Well, let's get right into it, my friend. I have 23 minutes left, and we got to get her done. So let's just start with Rory. Usually reserved this year for Scotty. Rory is all over the top of the leaderboard, number one in pretty much every category that I'm looking at. 84% chance of a top five finish. That's pretty ridiculous, sir. Also looking at just projected scoring, medium and ceiling scoring. Love my simulations over at Paydirt DFS. And of course, our friends at Data Golf. And looking forward to your article, of course, at drroto.com to make sure everybody goes and checks that out. Man, I got Rory at like 40% higher scoring projection than the next closest two in Tommy and Thigala. Is it a must play, Rory? I mean, he won this event by 7. 50% ownership, though. 50%.
It's tough. He's like we were talking about pre-show. It looks like he's sort of in that Scotty range this week, but I don't know. I'm going to have a hard time fading him just because of the guys who are up there with him in the 10K range. He's not at 13K like Scotty has been, and he's giving you similar projection to finish top five, to outscore everyone. I got him outscoring everyone by almost 16 DraftKings points. So it's a pretty significant gap between he, Thigala, Fleetwood, Shane Lowry, who finished second that year. I don't see a lot of reason to go balance lineup up top or balance lineup with a couple guys from the 9K or low 10K range. So I think it's Rory number one with a bullet. Then we kind of pop down to the 9K range, which most of them are fades for me too. If we're being honest here, based on ownership and chances to top five and give you some leverage. I don't know. I think Rory's the way to go this week.
Yeah, I can't argue with it. I can't get Tommy right to save my life. Every time I've played Fleetwood, it doesn't work. Every time I say I'm not touching him, he finishes top five. I can't get it right. So I think I just play Rory and hope for that, first, second, or third out of him.
Yeah, I think you're on the right track there. Now, with that being the case, when we know there's 50% ownership on the top price guy by a wide margin, we have a pretty good idea of where things are going to go after that. Like last week, Scotty, Aaron, Rye was a very common combination. This week, I think you're going to see a lot of Rory and then a guy in the low 8s or high 7s here. So we'll get to who that may be as we work our way down. I think the only guy that I'm really looking at, which will be very difficult to pair with Rory, would be Cam Young. He's in the same neighborhood as far as ownership, projected ownership, as far as the two guys above him and two guys below him in the 9K range. And then, Adam Scott looking like the least rostered dude in that range. He's been playing very well. Had a pretty good performance last week, even on Sunday when things got difficult. One of the longer guys in the field, believe it or not, even as he's creeping up on 40. But Scotty at 9K is someone I could see myself getting behind.
I'm looking at that, man, and I'm just like, I've got Adam Scott projected at about 60 points, right? And I've got Rory projected at 96 points. It's just like, I hear you, but like there's plenty of people projected in that 50 to 55 point DK range that are $2,000 cheaper. So I'm going to have a hard time, trying to squeeze two top people in here. If you really think Rory's going to run away with it, which I kind of do.
I think there's a decent chance of it. I don't think he has to play his best in order to win.
Right.
Or be in the top, 3 of DraftKings points this week. So it would be a tough fade. Like if you're looking to win a big GPP, I can see the merit for it. Playing in our 20-person contests and playing in single entry stuff, it's a tough fade for me.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking through the other 10s and 9s, and I got nothing really, man. I'm just not interested. And then even at the top of the 8s, like I don't know if I can pay 8,900 for Aaron Rai, even though he's been playing good golf, even though he pops in the model again 2 weeks in a row. That's almost 9
Yeah, I
grand.
did.
I can't do it.
I did throw a par. We talked about carrying the ball 300 or more. Cam Young fits that bill. He's also very good in the par 4 birdie or better category, which I put into my model this week. I want guys that are making birdies. I still think winning score is going to be somewhere at least 16 plus. It might not get to 21 where it was when Rory won, or 22 maybe. But he is very good in par 4 scoring. He's a longer player, so he'll take advantage of these short par 5s. Only a couple of them, but I could see him making an eagle or two on those holes this week. And his ownership's considerably lower than Rory's for sure. So if you're looking for a pivot, I could see that having some merit. Norin at 9,900 is just hard to look at and go, oh yeah, that makes sense. But he's been playing some pretty fabulous golf, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him contend. Just can't get off of Rory up there, man. Let's talk about the 8K range, though.
Yeah, let's go to the 8K range. It's not going to surprise you that I don't care for it. We got EVR, we got Mackenzie Hughes, Keith Mitchell. I mean, Mitchell's been playing some decent ball. I'm not into the 8K range at all. I mean, maybe I can put together Rory and Young because I don't care for this range either.
Yeah, Mitchell's been playing decent. The thing is, there's 2 key ranges on approach this week. It's 75 to 125 and 175 to 250. The way the whole yardages break down, the dog legs, how you're gonna have to lay up, and he is negative in this category in this field. He's been good off the tee, but if he doesn't drive it well, he's not a good putter. He's not good around the greens. Like, he doesn't have much to go on as far as something to lean on outside of his driver, which is going to be sort of negated this week on a lot of the holes. So Keith Mitchell's not a guy that I'm on, even though he is a little bit lower rostered as far as it's projected. I know you don't love Eric Van Rooyen. That's just not your dude.
Nope.
He is dead to you. I do have a little bit of interest in Adam Hadwin. There are not a lot of golf courses on tour where he truly could contend, but if his putter gets hot, which, isn't if, I could see him being the Canadian that contends up there, along with the guy we're going to talk about in the 7K range, despite him not being a longer player. Like we said, you got guys like Webb Simpson, Kuchar, those guys contending last time it was here. Not that long ago, I could see it. Tom Kim for me is just 16% or higher. I'm not so sure about that. Like, it's not a must play to that degree for me. So I don't know. Because I'm so interested in a couple guys in the 7K range, I'm kind of with you, Danger, where sprinkle in some Adam Hadwin, but other than that, I'm kind of good based on projected ownership, what these guys really offer as far as upside. I don't see Nick Taylor contending again, defending his title. He's been playing pretty pukey golf. I think we're good to move on to the 7K, honestly.
I think we are. I agree with you. I've got my 3 favorite plays of the week in the mid range here, and I'll just get them right out of the way for you. I like Davis Thompson. I like Taylor Pendrith. I like Doug Gim. I think all of them give you upside. I don't think any of them are going to be too highly owned. I mean, Thompson and Pendrith, I'm seeing a little over 10%, but that's not bad. And then Dougie Gim, who has done some good things for us in the past. I got him projected at like 6 to 7%. But I think this course fits him. So, I'm if I can load up right away with 3 players in the mid 7s, it really gives me a lot of leeway to pair somebody up with Rory.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to go to the 7K range after clicking on Rory's name.
Yep.
Davis Thompson's a guy we talked about last week. I do think he is. I mean, it's golf. You're never due to contend, but I look at the way guys are trending. His game has been pretty darn solid. And the thing I like about it, he is a longer player. He's not relying on any one part of his game. He's been very consistently solid from tee to green, off the tee and on approach. His around the green play has been a little bit up and down, but mostly up. So if he has a solid putting week, I mean, he's coming off of a T18 individually, missed the cut at the Byron Nelson, which was a birdie fest, kind of a joke of a golf course. T2 at Myrtle, T17 last week at a very difficult golf course. So he's getting it done consistently tee to green and also on a variety of different styles of golf course. I love him. And then Taylor Pendrith, I think he's a great bet for a low Canadian this week. If you want to go with the with the Low Countryman. Despite him being the highest projected clicked name in this range, I do love me some Taylor Pendrith. One guy you did not mention, who I am actually quite high on, is Mr. Matt Wallace. I think he has a similar skill set to the aforementioned Doug Gim. Mm-hmm. His game has been trending a little bit, and we have seen in the past when he gets in contention, he is not afraid to continue making birdies and contending. So T4 at the CJ Cup, like I said, not a great golf course. T17 at Valspar, probably more of a comp course for this, even though it's not quite the same. Myrtle Beach, T20. He's done it with approach play. He's done it with putting, done it with around the greens. He's actually a longer player than I realized. He is a plus player as far as carry distance in this field, averaging in the 290s. So Matt Wallace is a guy I didn't necessarily expect to be on this week, but after looking at the model, looking a little more at the data, let's get it, Matt Wallace. 7,500, pretty good bargain.
I dig it. And then I'm going to go all the way to the bottom of this range. I got all 4 players, 7,000, 7,000, 71, 71. All 4 of them have little bits of my model that poke out to them. None of them as like a great overall play, but all of them as, cut makers. And that's Thor Olesen. That's Hisatsuni. That is McIntyre, and our old friend Bo Hostler. What do you think about the bottom of this 7K range?
Look, this is not going to be some great analysis, but I love trends. Mm-hmm. And just like last week with Sung Jae, he had gone like miscut 10th, miscut 15th, miscut at the Byron Nelson, or not the Byron Nelson, at Colonial, the Charles Schwab. We got the same kind of trend with Ryo Hisatsune. We had a miscut at the Masters, T13. We had a miscut at Myrtle Beach, a T18 at the PGA. We had a miscut last week. He's top 20 in this week, bro. Ryo Hisatsune. Let's get it. And there's also some reasons to play him, too. His approach play, when it spikes, it's very good. It did not spike last week. It was awful last week. That's why he missed the cut. However, his long-term form, he's a pretty good approach player. He's the guy I'm looking at down in that range. Bo Hostler, I've tried to want to be on him for so long. I just can't do it. Bobby Mack, my fellow Scotsman, he does love him some dog legs. He'll take advantage of these par 5s. Bobby Mack, I'm lukewarm on. I'm not going to tell you fade him for sure, but wouldn't play him in my 3 lineup approach.
What about Thor? Come on now, with a name like Thor.
Nah, Thor is way down in my model. His approaches in the range we're looking at, those 75 to 125, 175 to 225, leave a lot to be desired, and he's not that great off the tee. So not a guy that I'm looking at this week.
As we get into the 6,000, sir, you'll be happy to know that Mr. Luke List at 6,900 is one of the worst performers in my sim.
Oh, really? I thought you were going to say one of the best. Okay.
No, sir. That's why I said you'd be happy to know.
Oh, I thought you were messing with me.
No, I'm not messing with you, sir.
All right. I appreciate that.
I would never do such things.
Yeah.
Old guy week. Is this a Kevin Tway week?
Well, he is an old guy, but he doesn't necessarily have an old guy game. He's one of my, if he's going to be 5%, not that it's huge, but under 7K, that's more than you'd expect.
I got him at 1.9%.
If we're talking about real old guys, though, I got him at 5. That's interesting. I got Cooch. Been a long time. He was on the all like douchebag team?
Yes.
But this is one of the few courses Cooch can get it done. He definitely has the old guy game. His putter can get hot. He uses a really weird technique. But yeah, Cooch is a dude that I am begrudgingly interested in this week. Not a guy that I'm super excited about. Guess who is like by far the most high projected in this range here? Guy we mentioned last week, 2 with the same initials.
I didn't hear what you said.
I got Mac Meisner as easily the highest projected in this range.
Oh yes, no, he's on my list. He's on my pre-list.
We were all about him last week. I didn't play him because, again, just like yourself, loved him, almost wrote him up, loved him all the way through. Just didn't click his name because I'm an idiot. But these things happen. I don't love him at 12% though. He's a little bit longer than average on tour, but 12%. He's not.
I got him ownership projected at 3%.
Well, someone's going to be right here. I think it's more close to 12, just based on what his model is going to look like. People are going to click his name and see that he finished top 10 last week. And his trends do look pretty good. His approach play has been trending. Off the tee has been positive 3 out of 4 weeks. It's there. But I don't know. I think this is where he kind of falls flat. He followed up a top 10 at Valero with a miscut the very next week or in his next event. If he's closer to 10, I'm off it. We've talked about this many times. Like 6K range, if you're close to 10%, I'm out.
Yeah, well, right there in that same range, my model pops not only for Mr. Meisner, which I like, and I don't have him at 10%, but a friend of the show, Bud Colley at 6,400, and also Ben Silverman. I've got him scoring higher than Meisner. I've got him going lower than Meisner in ownership, and I kind of like Ben Silverman.
Yeah, don't absolutely hate it. Although his approach play leaves something to be desired. He's been relying a lot on his putting recently. He did finish. We talked about him last week as a good bargain play. I think he was down in the 5K range last week. Finished T32, so he definitely paid off his salary there. But he's relying way too much on putting, and for me, this is not, of course, necessarily where you want to keep relying all on that. I think you need some approach play to kind of complement it. There's a gross name that I'm for some reason interested in this week, and I don't know. I might need you to talk me off of him. I got Patton Kizzire.
I knew you were going to say that.
Did you?
I knew it. So here's the deal. I've got Bud Colley for $100 more, ranked as my 37th highest scoring player this week, and I've got Patton Kizzire as my 71st highest rated player this week.
Yeah, like his projections.
I hate him. I don't like him at all. The leverage score is terrible. His percent chance to 10x his salary is nothing. I hate it.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily saying there are good reasons, like statistically to play him, but he had a great approach week at Myrtle. He finished top 10 in his last T10 in his last event. He's finished in 3 events in a row. He's finished top 30 individually. T28 at the team event at the Zurich. I don't know. He tends to play well for stretches and then kind of go into the abyss for a while. I think this is one of those stretches where he's looking good. So
nope, I'm out.
At his price, 6,300, I'm playing him. I'm playing
Bud Colley. Bud Colley's my guy if I'm playing down here.
Okay. I can't hate you on that. There's a guy who's been trending favorably. Wanted to mention him last week and forgot. I got Gary Woodland as a player I would keep my eye on. I think 6,200, bit of a club down golf course where you're not hitting driver every week. He tends to do well at those courses. Don't mind a little Woodland there at 6,200.
See, look, your model and my model, they're not getting along. I've got Woodland and Kizzire as 2 of the worst leverage plays of the week.
Yeah, I'm not personally playing Woodland this week. It doesn't line up well for him with the approach play, and
but I thought you were going to try to give me a dissertation on Sam Ryder again. That's what I thought you were going to do.
No, not necessarily. He's been very hot and cold, and last week was cold.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I don't play anyone outside of the top 40 in my models ever. Period. Don't do it.
Are there top 40 guys in your model down in the 5K range?
Not in the 5K range. So I'm out. I'm out in the 5K range, unless I'm trying to play stars and scrubs, right? Then we'll dig down a little bit. But I do have a couple of poppers in the 5K range. I got Max Gracerman, just a mild little spike for 5,900, just a mild one. And back to Troy Merritt again, who popped last week in the little model.
Look, I am doing my best to try and trust the model. I took more time than I normally do on the model this week. I got a couple names for you down in the 5K range here that actually finished top 10 in my model.
Well, and pre-show, I told you one of the highest leverage money for top 5 salary equity in Matthew Naismith.
Yeah, Naismith I could get behind. I've got Kelly Craft.
All right.
Kelly Craft. So I'll try and make the argument here. He's above average in this field. He gains strokes relative to the field in our 2 key strokes gained approach categories. He's a very good putter. He hasn't been playing a lot, but he is 350 to 1 to win. That's probably not going to happen. But at his price, if you're playing Rory way up top and you need someone to help run out your lineup, I could see the merit for it. Finished T13 at the CJ Cup, finished T19 quietly at the RSM last fall, and he's very, very cheap. Very, very cheap. Gained a stroke and a half on approach at the Byron Nelson. So I don't know. I could see the merit. I'm trying to trust the model, Danger. I'm
trust the model. That's what I do, and it's worked.
And last week,
every week, but last week.
Right? You didn't trust it last week, and you should have. He also has the same first initial as last. We talked about that last week. Mac Meisner, Scotty Scheffler. Could have been a good week if you went that route.
Could have been a good week. How about the lowest salaried player that gives me any kind of hope in the simulation in Kevin Streelman?
Yeah.
Put your thinking cap on that, because I like to dig deep.
You do like to dig deep. He is old. He fits that model. He fits that part of the model. He doesn't contend often. I'm scrolling way down to even see his ass, man. Was he down here with these amateurs?
Yeah, 5,400. 5,400.
54. Okay. So you're going. Now, the other guy I wanted to mention, who I don't want to play, but he keeps popping in my models, is Kevin Doherty.
Yeah. He's there too.
He's plus in the longer approach play. He's a long driver. He bombs it. I don't know, 5,600 maybe. But Streelman will have to look at a little bit more closely. I don't know what he's been doing lately. He's just been completely off my radar. We used to like Streels, though. We used to talk about Streels a fair bit.
That's right.
2 straight made cuts. He does have that going for him. Gain strokes both off the
Who do we
tee.
always used to pair with him? Streels and Steels?
Streels and Brendan Steele. Brendan Steele went to live. That son of a bitch.
Years ago, we used to play Streels and Steels.
We did. I think that's probably about it, buddy.
I got nothing. I got nothing else.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, oddly enough, Stuart Sink has a small little spike down here. Oh, Stewie.
Stewie Sink. I love me some Stewie.
I know you do. But I got nothing else. All right. I got nothing else. All right. I got to get out of here. I got an hour drive to be an hour and 3 minutes. So I should probably leave.
You should probably leave.
I should probably leave. I'm going to be boring, and you can't talk me off Rory this week. I'm just going to chalk monkey it.
Oh, you chalk donkey. All right. Yeah. If you're going there, I will once again go Cam Young at 9,800.
Fair enough. I'm skipping literally everything else and going down to Taylor Pendrith for my mid-range.
All right, you can take Pendrith. I will take Mr. Davis Thompson,
who I also love.
Bad sign.
All right, who you got for your low salary? Let's call it the 6K range.
6K range. I think I'm. Let's go Cooch.
Cooch. You like the Cooch? Oh, yeah. I'm going to go back to Mac Meisner. I don't believe that he's going to be 12% out. And
back to the Mac, baby.
Yeah, I'm going back to the Mac, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and take a shot on Streelman as the tipsy pick, baby. I just old time's sake.
You're getting real tipsy. I'm gonna trust
I swear it's coffee I'm drinking. I swear.
I'm gonna trust the model, and I'm gonna go with Kelly Craft as a bargain play at 5,700. I am almost vomiting in my mouth saying it out loud, but trust the model.
Almost vomitous. Let's go with a couple of bets. You have a couple of bets. I like Matt Naismith for top 20.
Matt Naismith top 20.
That's right.
Sure. Why not? I don't have that pulled up right now, but bet Taylor Pendrith's top 5. I'll find those odds in a second here.
Yeah.
I think Alex Noren is a good bet to win. I know we talked about him for DFS not being great, but I think he's been trending. This is a course he could play really well at. 22 to 1 is pretty tasty for me. Where is Pendrith at the top 5? And then I like Matt Wallace top 10 at 6.5 to 1. Pendrith is 12 to 1 for a top 5. That's it.
All right. I love it, man. I appreciate you getting on early for me so I can get out the door for my real job. I appreciate you.
Problem,
What we got? What we got next after this one? What's after the Canadian Open? Where are we coming back next week? I think we're taking next week off, aren't we?
No. We got the Memorial next week. It's a
we got
signature
the
event or elevated event, whatever the flip they're calling it these days. We'll be at Memorial down in Columbus, Ohio. And then we'll be back for a major, man, U.S. Open week.
I love it. Absolutely love it. All right, that is Adam White. You can check out his full analysis and his favorite plays at drroto.com, where he has his weekly article behind the paywall. And let me tell you, Lou Landers is tearing up the world of baseball. If you're not watching what he's doing, you're messing up. And we're getting ready for football. All kinds of great articles are out there. Heat Override starting to put his IDP work out there. He's a madman, but he is a mad genius at IDP if you are looking for some deep football dives. Anyways, for Mr. Adam White, I am Johnny Danger. Thanks for watching In the Cup, brought to you by drroto.com.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.